Today, we're going to talk about breath support. Let's talk about breath support. Today, I'm going to teach you about breath support. Breath support, breath support, breath support. What are we talking about? Trying to explain breath support can be really hard, but doing it shouldn't be, because guess what? You already know how. There's only one way you can breathe, and that's in and out. So why does it get so confusing? Well, let's clear a couple of things up. First of all, what is your diaphragm? What it is a piece of skeletal muscle attached to the base of your rib cage. So when your diaphragm contracts, it pulls air into your lungs like a vacuum. You can't change that. You can't change from breathing from your diaphragm to breathing from your lungs. They have to work together. And there's only one way they can work. So when someone says to you, stop breathing from your lungs, breathe from your diaphragm, what they mean, though, is get out of your own way. Let me explain. In a perfect world, when you inhale, you're taking in air, so your diaphragm should come out. If you watch the lines on my dress, right here and right here, you'll see them expand. Now, if I'm tense, or I'm trying to hold in my gut, you're going to see this line go up and down. And that's something people will actually watch for in singers, if their clavicle is rising or falling. It doesn't mean you're breathing from the wrong place. It means that you're so tense through the abdomen that your diaphragm isn't coming out naturally. So a lot of singing methods will try to teach a singer to forcefully expel the diaphragm, which is silly because the muscles are too tight. Rather than work around the tension and try to make them go out, just release it. The diaphragm can be thought of as part of a two-valve system. This valve is just on. It's always sending air up to the second valve, which has the ability to open and close, change size and shape, and let different amounts of air through based on the sound that you're looking for. To really understand how breath support works, you first need to understand how valves work. So, I'm going to teach you how to use a bathtub. So the function of the main valve is to give you more or less volume. More water, less water. More air, less air. That's all it does. It doesn't really afford you very much control. Where it's important is to see how it influences the secondary valve. Now the secondary valve is very finicky. It's sort of like Cinderella's evil stepsister. If you don't give it exactly what it wants in terms of airflow, it's probably going to do something awful. So what does it mean when I say the exact right amount of air? Well, let's look at it in terms of water. I don't want dripping, and I don't want splashing. I just want a nice, steady, smooth flow. Well, what happens if I turn it up a little bit? More air, more water. Start splashing a little bit, right, and kinking. So I could turn it back down, or I could open my valve more. See how it smooths out? Now, if I have too little air, and my valve is open really wide, it starts wobbling, which also can happen to your breath flow. So even though it's still kind of coming out, do you see how the water is wobbling and kinking? Same thing happens to your airflow. When you try to sing on a wobbling, kinking flow, you get bad results. So this is a technique I like to use to teach singers how the two valves influence each other. So what we're going to do, I want you to grab a drinking straw. I like this coffee-sized straw just because it's a little bit smaller and it works better for me. This is actually a voice rehabilitation technique developed by Dr. Ingo Tietze, a voice expert. So here's how it works. You always want to make sure that you can feel the air blowing onto your palm, because that's how you're going to keep it in check and make sure it's consistent. So I just like to hold my straw like this, so that when I'm blowing, I can always feel it. So try that. And now add a little sound behind your airflow. Now when you're going through a song, I like the Star Spangled Banner for a good practice example because it really takes you pretty low and then pretty high. You want to make sure that you're not doing glottal stops in the middle of the song. So here's a smooth legato sound. Here it is with glottal stops. The air actually stops on my hand, so that kind of defeats the purpose. Try to keep it smooth. Now, let's talk about amount. What happens when I have way too much air? Listen, I'm going to go for the high note. It's going to be fun. The valve was so confused by that amount of air that it tightened, and I couldn't sing well. Now, it's a lot more drastic in the straw, but that's how you find your mistakes. You can get so picky. You can start to hear little bubbles and clicks that mean your diaphragm and your second valve aren't coordinating well. So to summarize, what you're looking for when you're using the straw is a smooth, steady stream, both in your palm and what you actually hear. The straw sort of exaggerates anything that's happening with your regular breath flow and tone. So if you have little itty-bitty hitches, they're going to sound huge when you're singing with the straw. You just have to tune in and listen for them. And eventually,